Hello, everybody. Welcome again to Counselor's Couch 101. I'm Jim Stump. I thank you for your comments and your emails. If you haven't sent us an email before, that address is counselorscouch101 at mail.com. Love to hear what you're thinking. Would like to keep these posts relevant to what you're going through here and now. Here's an interesting question. Why do people stay in bad relationships? We know it's wrong. We keep pounding our head against the wall saying, why the heck am I here? Why do I keep doing this? Why don't I just go? Oftentimes, it has to do with how we got into the relationship in the first place. There are psychological theories that say we choose partners based on wounds that we had earlier in life that we're trying to fix, right? I know it can sound like an unusual idea or something that doesn't make any sense. It may sound counterintuitive. If it wasn't any good, why would I like to come back to it? But the more you work on these things and the more people you talk to about these issues, you begin to understand it actually is true. We are trying to repair the wounds of earlier in life. It's really something. So if we had a problematic relationship with a father, we marry someone who's like our father, and we're trying to battle that out and fix it. We're trying to make it right this time. That's why we're there. We're trying to convince the other person that we were correct and that they should change their behavior to be more in accord with how we feel things should go. And oftentimes, the other person in the partnership is doing the exact same thing. They're trying to get the partner to change in a different direction. And there is the struggle. The question is, why do they stay, right? Oftentimes they don't. But oftentimes it can take a lot of time before they arrive at the conclusion that it's not going to work. What was it, Einstein's definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And when it doesn't come, we finally learn, okay, this is a bad deal. I might as well let go, cut my losses, and move on in life. It's not working. Why do we stay? There could be a lot of things. It could be not only trying to fix wounds from the past, but maybe we want to hang on to someone. Maybe we have abandonment issues. Someone left us earlier in life, and we feel that we're not worthy of love or worthy of someone wanting to be with us for a long haul. So we're trying to cling to that person because we feel like if they go, we will never be loved again. We can't be loved now. So we start looking at those things and saying, okay, why am I trying to hang on to this woman or this guy who obviously doesn't like me? It's because if we feel we let go, we can't breathe, we won't survive. And that comes from early childhood when we are dependent upon adults for our very survival. Babies can't feed themselves, they can't find water, they can't get up and walk around. They can't do basic things. They can't change their clothes. Young kids can't go to work and earn money and pay their way. We are dependent upon adults, and so we form these sorts of emotional relationships with caregivers who really have the power of life and death over us. We start thinking of those emotional feelings in those terms. It's life or death. I have to make mommy happy. If I don't, I'm going to starve to death. So we start clinging to her and trying to draw her attention and make her want to pay attention to us through various techniques that we learn. And as we grow older, we're trying to hang on to that need of that partner. We need them to care for us so we feel like we're not going to survive. Can sound very convoluted, but I promise you it's true. Emotions don't necessarily make any sense. Emotions are not logical. We start recording emotions before we're even born, and certainly before we have the vocabulary with which to name the things we're feeling. We're just storing away feelings. And then someone asks a person a question about, why are you feeling that way, or what are you feeling? They say, I don't know. I just know that I am. Because it's lost in that morass of emotion that is all mixed up together like the lava in a volcano. Doesn't make sense, but it's there and we know it's there. I once heard a guy say, he said, I don't know why I do the things I do, but I know that I do them, right? He was aware of his behavior, didn't think it was necessarily beneficial behavior, but he knew that he did it, and he knew that he wasn't going to change his pattern. He didn't feel like he could. This is what happens to us. We get stuck in a sort of a a view of life, a view of the world, a view of relationships, and we can't seem to get out of it until we bang our head up against the wall enough times and finally decide something has to change. And since the world is not going to change, I guess it's going to have to be me. I'm going to have to figure it out. Why am I in a relationship that doesn't work? And if we can discover the underlying emotional need, then we can speak to it, we can address it. And if a couple can work their way through that and still find that they have some sort of attraction for one another, they have a chance to make the relationship work. If they don't, if they find themselves at odds on every level of conversation and an emotional need, most often, particularly in this culture, they separate, they go their separate ways. Why do we stay with relationships that don't work? Sometimes it has to do with family, as I've said before. We have connections to other people in our lives, particularly if they're children. Some people want to keep their family together. They never wanted to be involved in a divorce. I know some very famous people who said, I cannot be divorced 4 times or 5 times. And they would stay in a relationship, pay their partner anything their partner wanted, and let them do whatever they pleased, but not divorced because they didn't want to have that public image. So they stay for that reason. People stay because maybe they like the surrounding things that the relationship gives them. Maybe it gives them a good house in a good area. Maybe it gives them prestige socially. Maybe they get to hang out with a certain group of people that they couldn't hang out with if they left that particular relationship. So maybe that's why they stay. Sometimes they stay because they can't think of any other place to go. Any other place to go. They think if I leave, I can't support myself. I can't live at this level of comfort if I go off on my own. So they stay in a bad relationship and remain unhappy. I remember, this is a very, very sad case. This lady, she grew up in the church. Her parents were ministers, and she married a minister. And after a couple of years of marriage and 3 children, she realized that she wasn't in love with her husband. She just wasn't. But she couldn't break the relationship because she made a vow to God. She made a vow at her church. She made a vow to her parents. She made a vow to her husband. So I asked her, I said, okay, so then the idea is to just wait 80 years until God releases you? And she got very quiet at that. And she stopped and she said, yeah, gotta wait 80 years until God releases me. Other than that, I made a vow. I've got to stay. I've got to see it through. I've got to see it out. I don't know if that's a good reason to stay or not. I appreciate the person's integrity for sticking to a vow, but I wonder if it makes them happy. Dennis Prager once said, I don't like divorce, but I don't think marriage should be a life sentence. I thought that was a very apt description of what may be going on. It shouldn't be a life sentence. It shouldn't be something miserable. I'm not advocating divorce. I don't think that's the best way to go. I think the best way to go is to pick the right partner to begin with. All right. But if you didn't and you're in a bad relationship, it helps you to understand why you stay in it, because it will make you more aware and better able to adapt to things that happen to you in your future. Issues will always come down the line. We'll always be confronted with more and more things in life. So why do we cling to the stuff that doesn't work? If you can figure that out, you will have benefited yourself, your partner, and everyone around you. Not only that, you'll have wisdom to share, and that could be a really valuable thing. We go through stuff and say, hey, look, you get to decide whatever you want, but let me tell you my story before you make that decision. Okay? Why do we stay with bad relationships? Figure it out and pass it on. If you can, or if you're willing, pass it on to me. Send me an email and tell me all about your experiences with remaining with bad relationships. It doesn't necessarily have to be yours. Maybe you've seen a bad relationship. Maybe your parents or a brother, sister, someone that's really close to you. Share your experiences and let's see what we can learn and what wisdom we can gain from it. We all benefit by sharing our experiences, and this might be a good and safe place to do it. Why do we stay in bad relationships? Let me know your answer. Thanks for stopping by. I look forward to talking with you next time.